everyone, welcome to a new episode of CBNME Connect. When you think about Dubai, real estate is one of the first few industries that will come to your mind. And today, a very special guest is going to be joining us on this episode. He's seen the industry evolve on a very first-hand basis, and he doesn't shy away from sharing his views. So without any further ado, let's invite Farooq Syed, who is going to be sharing some sharp insights into the Dubai's real estate market. So thank you, Farooq, for joining us.
Thank you, Vibha, for having me on your show.
How are you and how are you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for coming over here, and thank you for giving us a chance to voice our opinion about the market.
I am very excited because I've seen you voice out your opinion on the market, and I think the market is in a very dynamic, exciting phase. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, we're the most exciting city in the world, right? I mean, Dubai has seen unprecedented growth, and investors in Dubai who believed in the brand Dubai have seen the market go up in the last 4 years, and we're still seeing a very positive and healthy momentum in the market. We work with pretty much all the major developers of Dubai, and we're seeing very, very good demand. Even entering 2025, last quarter was probably the busiest quarter we ever had in the history of Dubai. So we keep breaking our record year after year, quarter after quarter, and luckily, the journey has been good for all the stakeholders, the developers, the buyers, and of course, the agency owners and the agents as well. So it's been a very, very positive movement in Dubai's real estate market.
I would completely agree to that. I think we've seen a lot of potential, a lot of growth volume. But before we actually get into that, I want to know more about yourself, your experience, and as I described, you've seen the industry evolve on a first-hand basis.
I sound a lot older than I am,
So let's get into that and let's just start exploring about your journey.
So we started Springfield in 2008, nearly 17 years in Dubai's real estate market. So I've only ever done real estate. I've been working from a very young age. I'm 35 now. So from the age of 16 was the first time I got a job in real estate. I worked as an admin assistant at a real estate brokerage firm in 2008 when we formed our own company. I've pretty much been working since my teenage years trying to sell real estate. As a company, we've seen, the boom cycles pre-2008. When we formed the company, the market was, at an all-time high as of that decade, I would say. And then 2008 onwards, we've seen a little bit of a pretty bad time of Dubai as well when there was a global recession going on. So we've seen the highs and the lows, and then the market picking up again, the Expo 2020 high, and then we've seen a slowdown before COVID, and then we saw, of course, during COVID, the prices tank to the lowest that they had been, and then of course we've had a very good recovery phase after that. So we've seen different times of Dubai's real estate market. Of course, Dubai is a real estate market as well. Today, we are one of the top agencies. This year, we're expecting to sell nearly 5 billion worth of real estate. Last year, we clocked in nearly a little bit over 3 billion in sales. So, luckily, due to this beautiful city and the growth and the leadership that is propelling the city in the right direction, we've been a factor of that growth vision of the leadership. So, I'm very happy and very grateful that, we chose the right business. And I think as a city which is developing at this pace.
That is true. And I think you've actually pointed out really big numbers here. So when you talk about these figures, of course, a very big support in that ecosystem of our real estate is the developers. Now, when you're moving past through Sheikh Zayed, you just see...
All you see is developers.
Only developers.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have a roster of developers, to work with. So how has that experience been over the past couple of years?
Just because of the sheer growth of the cities and population, I mean, the people are moving into Dubai at a very high pace. New businesses are being formed, people are moving over here, and I see this growth going onwards. Coming back to your question about now we have a bigger choice of developers to work with. Us personally, we're very selective because I think buyers are now becoming a little bit more conscious of who they're working with and who they're buying properties from. The bigger developers, of course, like the Emars and the Miras and the Demax and the Shobas, they do master communities. And buyers are really opting for quality, are opting for branded residences. Not just branded residences like a brand on the residence, but as a developer as well. Being a strong brand behind the developer, it's making a huge difference. I still have investors whose properties we manage as a firm from the last 15 years. So we can never sell them something that we are not 100% confident in because people
100%.
buy and sell and buy and sell, and then tomorrow we need to rent it, we need to sell it. So we want to work with developers whose products we believe in. When you come to the bigger branded developers, the growth is very good. So us as an agency, we're shying away from newer developers. We're getting bombarded every day by new developers, but we are deciding, or at least choosing, to work with the developers who have a good history, because we really, really care about, the end product. And we're working with the same clients, like I said, for many, many years. We want to keep that relationship strong.
A relationship is the key to
Of
any
course,
business.
of course.
But again, when you said about the massive big developers like
Yeah.
DeMac, Shobha is coming up with Shobha Heartland.
Heartland 2.
The Siddharth Island master plan that they're coming up with.
Omalkoi downtown. Now the new one.
Azizi has Azizi Venice. So when these things come into picture, what are the buyer sentiments that you're looking at, and how do you see that changing and has shifted, say maybe from the past 3 years?
So in the last 3 years, like I said, buyers are now becoming a lot more selective as to who they buy with and where they buy. With these developers, when you come up with a master community, the advantage for the buyer is that you have, all your facilities inside that community. People are really moving towards community-driven projects. So rather than buying in a master community which has, let's say, 50 different developers developing individual buildings, what happens is that the architectures don't match sometimes, the landscaping isn't taken care of to a high level. When it's one developer, like let's say Shobha or DeMac or Miras, they do the landscaping very well. And all of this, dictates the value of the real estate in the next 3 to 4 years, especially when you're buying off plan. When you're buying a property off a brochure, you really do care about, is this actually going to be completed in the same quality, in the same way that's shown in the render, and we as brokers need to be able to justify that decision of the buyer. So we want to work with those developers as well. So sentiments are moving more towards community living. They want communities that have everything. Plus, a lot of these communities always bring something unique. For example, we've seen golf courses, communities, around a golf course, or a community around a lagoon, or, these factors bring a wow factor to that development. It makes it more prime and more desirable. When you're a smaller developer, you can't dictate or you can't construct a golf course for a couple of buildings, right? You can't construct a lagoon if you're just developing one tower. So all of these things dictate the end value, and that's where the buyer movement is going towards. Community living, bigger developers, bigger brands, and branded residences is also the big hype right now. And we're seeing a lot of people that are coming to Dubai, they want higher quality. Especially the luxury segment, which is, our specialty. Clients are now having very, very different expectations to what we used to see 15 years ago. 15 years ago, if you see some of the mansions built in Emirates Hills, they're still built on what we, in today's market, define as very regular quality. Today's developers, if you look at the construction quality, it's at a different scale altogether. The kind of marble that we're using, the kind of, buyers will even look at the kind of glass, and the side frames, are they the thin frame glass or the large, and what's the size of the glass, the size of the height of the ceilings. All of these things come into play. And luckily, in the last 3-4 years, we've seen a huge shift in the word that we call luxury. The definition of luxury has changed in the last 3-4 years. And we've never seen these prices as well, right? So we've never seen houses at 100, 150, 200 million selling as regularly as they are today. We never saw that happening before. So of course, those buyers are have a lot more expectations.
So that is correct. But again, when we talk about branded residences, the first perception is branded residences, that means it's luxury living.
Yeah.
It's there. We have so many branded residences. W Residences is coming, Bugatti is coming up with
Bugatti, Mercedes,
there's
Jacob
so many.
Co.
Exactly. So there's so many, but how, again, when you are presenting it to your clients, what is that unique selling point that you are giving it to them when you have so many options?
Location is, of course, obviously a very important part of that buying decision. Different branded residences give some sort of a different vibe in that building. So we recently had a buyer that loves the brand of Bugatti. Even though Bugatti's never done residences, but he loves the car Bugatti, and he believes that there is a certain intrinsic value to that name associated with that tower. He's like, what? It's Bugatti. A very wealthy person buys a car. He wants to buy Bugatti is the ultimate. So for him, the feelings he has for that car are dictating his purchase decision in a property. The Palace, you have Emaar coming up with Vida. These are all top tier brands. When they come in, they define the common spaces. Because when you're buying an apartment, if you're buying a villa, let's say, you can still renovate it, you can change the flooring, you can, change the interiors altogether. But when you buy an apartment, of course, you can change the interiors, but you can't change the elevators. You can't change the common areas. You can't change the corridors. You can't change the lobby of the building or the gym or the pool. And now, like I said, the newer buyers that are coming expect a much higher level of quality. And for that, I think branded residences are doing phenomenally well. Previously, the highest number of branded residences existed in Miami.
Yeah.
And now Dubai has far...
Now you even have a football team.
Yeah, we have Chelsea. We have Chelsea branded residences.
You literally
we
have...
actually went... I was supposed to fly to London as well for the signing of Chelsea, but I was unavailable. So I've been a part of those journeys with that developer as well, with the different developers, even with Bengati.
Yeah.
We've been among their top selling agencies last year. So we were in the top 10 high selling agencies for Bengati. So we've done a lot of sales in most of their new branded developments.
The Mercedes is one of
them.
them.
People who believe in that brand, who have a love for Mercedes or Bugatti or Jacob & Co, they love those buildings. They bring that brand's vibe into the lobby, into the common spaces, which is not something you can get in a regular building.
But then do you think it is sustainable?
Oh, definitely. If we have a demand, why not? They're just literally supplying what the customer is asking for.
That's true. But again, something which I have seen recently, off-plan developments.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your take on that?
In terms of?
In terms of, do you think that there are buyers who are actually ready to psychologically change the notion and, step into that direction?
Off-plan? Oh, Dubai is run on off-plan developments. In the last quarter, we saw, I believe it's a 60-40 split in the market.
Yeah.
60% of the transactions are happening within the off-plan segment of Dubai's real estate market. So more people are willing to buy newer developed projects, as compared to, the overall transactions, and not just the value, but even the volume of transactions in off-plan is much higher. Why? I'll give you a simple reason. First of all, we have an actual shortage in the number of properties in Dubai as compared to the number of people that are moving in over here. The prices have gone up very, very quickly. People are seeing value in the new developments because they're generally being launched at a lower price as compared to what you would buy something in the ready market for a similar project. So for example, we had a luxury villa, two luxury villa communities that were launched back to back in the last 2 months by Emaar. One was the Oasis, one was Grand Polo. Both of them, we were giving comparisons of similar properties in the ready market. It was nearly 30 to 40% higher than what Emaar was launching. So there's a value in that, right? People believe in the brand and people believe in buying it off plan because the pricing is much lower as compared to what you will get in the ready market. Plus, we attract a lot of international buyers. When you have international buyers, the ease of sending money to a developer is much more easier. Also, you don't need 100% of the money up front. Interest rates are relatively higher at an all-time high in the world. So people are now preferring to buy something with an interest-free payment plan over 3 to 4 years. And even especially buyers internationally find it easier to send funds directly to a developer than buying something in the ready real estate market.
Having said that, there's a lot of pull towards Dubai on a global level.
100%.
Maybe one of the reasons why we can say that is the global uncertainty, the Dubai government making it possible for everybody to come. They've opened their arms for the world to come and settle down in Dubai. But again, you have witnessed the massive 2008 crisis.
Yeah.
You've witnessed COVID. How do you foresee such situations, and do you have anything in mind that might be useful for the audience, like as a preventive or a precautious sentiment or a thought process?
So if you ask me where am I putting all my eggs, it's all in Dubai's real estate market because I believe in this market so much. We have a lot of new businesses Dubai has become a hub for literally every business. And that really defines the real estate market, and people from there are moving into Dubai. So people who are here are now starting to consider Dubai as their long-term, home. And when somebody recognizes the city as their long-term home, then they decide to invest and buy their property and their home over here. So that mindset shift all right? And that population surge really changes the dynamics of the market. So we're no more that 2008 Dubai. We're no more that 2014 or 2015 or 2016 Dubai. Dubai has changed massively. The government is investing heavily in just the infrastructure, in all your new policies, your golden visas. All of this makes a huge change in the buyer's perception. Dubai has a very, very strong foreign policy. All right, we are now the new Switzerland of the world. We are open for business, and that's, I was just flying in last week. So they've created a platform for all of us to do well. We're open for business as a city. And, I believe today, the vision of the leadership, Dubai has their Urban 2040 master plan. Dubai has their D33, which is the 2033 agenda. All of these urban master plans are their agendas, which are all meant towards growth. Not just in terms of infrastructure, but also in terms of the economy. I think all of this will really define the future value of Dubai's real estate. And I only believe this is going to grow. Today, the buyer who's coming to Dubai is not looking for a 1 year or 2 year flip. People are coming here with long-term strategies. People are coming over here with a 5-10 year strategy. This is no more a flipper market. You don't buy real estate in Dubai and hope to sell it 6 months later, or sell it 1 year later. It is the long-term vision and aligning their real estate purchases with the vision of the city and where it's expecting to grow. And I think that's a huge shift, and I think that will help Dubai sustain its long-term value.
Amma, I'm going to ask you something which is on a very personal note, okay? Your top 3 favorite developers.
Top 3? This is a difficult question. Yeah, you can't put me in a tough spot like that. Everyone's a great friend. But, okay, if I had to name the 3 largest developers that we do business with, of course, Emaar is by far number 1, just because of the scale of their developments, and also because of the quality and the brand that they have developed and the brand equity that they have. All right. Second, I love Shobha in terms of their quality, in terms of their craftsmanship, in terms of the key locations that they have. All right. And of course, how can we ignore Damac? Being the largest private developer, the kind of master communities that they're coming up with and how they have evolved over the years. So for me, I'm a big developer guy. And of course, how can I forget Dubai Holding, Nakhil and Miras, So I'm a big developer guy.
You've named all big developers. I'm asking you personally.
No, but these are my favorite ones. These are my favorite ones. Not because you sell the most for them,
Not from business point of view. Okay, but I know you're not a big fan of, the new developers. But if you had to...
I always say, we are a department store.
Okay.
Some customers have certain needs and requirements and budgets. And different developers, because see, everyone is selling today in Dubai. Whether you're an Emaar or whether you are a newer developer that's just entered the scene, everyone is able to capture a segment of the market. So if you've come to me as a buyer and told me that I need to pay in these many years, or I need a longer payment plan, or I need this pricing, or I need this location, we have different developers that are catering to every market. So if you ask me in terms of super high-end luxury, then I would have a different name for you.
Okay, so let's just build on that. Okay, so give me 3.
You really do want to put me in a tough position.
Give me 3 rising developers that you're seeing in Dubai right now.
Rising developers. Yeah. I think Bengati has done phenomenally well.
Okay.
In the last few years, and how they have changed their perception from a developer that was only targeting the lower tier segment to someone that has, come up very, very quickly into the super luxury segment. Second, I'm really liking what Imtiaz has been doing. Imtiaz in their private developments, they're doing phenomenally well. And of course, Danube has always catered to the mass segment, and they are very, very good with their newer developments, and they've really evolved over the years.
But Danube can't be a rising developer.
No, they're not a rising developer, but even nor is Bengati anymore a rising. Yeah. They both are very well. But I think in the last 4 or 5 years, they have, I would say post-COVID, the kind of developments that they've done. From a developer that was developing, let's say, a G plus 10 in Studio City to someone who's developing a 100-story plus building in Business Bay. This rise in the last 5 years is phenomenal.
Yeah,
you do realize that this one tower in Business Bay, which is Bays 101 or Bays 102, is the same value as 10 projects in JVC or 20 projects in Dubai Land Residential Complex. That one tower is 3.5 to 4 billion dirhams worth of sale, versus a regular project in DLRC could be ranging between 150 million to 250 million. So that's the scale of that one project is worth 30 projects in these other. So the scale of their developments has really, really grown. And for me, I think that's a very sharp and quick rise. So as Imtiaz, they came up with literally, we started hearing about them a couple of years back, and now all of a sudden, they're launching 30 projects in Dubai Island.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that they were able to deliver very high quality.
Yeah.
They were able to, reach that segment of the market and build a brand on the requirement of people. And there's a lot of noise in that segment, by the way. There's a lot of developers. So standing out from those developers is very different. And these are not companies that have the, backing of the government or something. They're all private developers. So coming up that quickly, it's amazing to see that. And Benghazi as well.
Fair.
I mean, from projects in Silicon Oasis to doing Bugatti residences, there's a
huge difference.
Huge difference.
And again, 3 developers for luxury living.
For luxury.
Pure luxury we are talking about.
Yeah. So Omniat, in terms of their luxury, in terms of their Dorchester collections that they have, Palm, what they're doing. Then what we sell a lot are these villas that are developed by, individuals, but the kind of developments, that's niche luxury. When you really look into it, they're really
they're pushing
going
it
into the intricate details. Of course it's backed by DMAC, but it's separate in terms of the kind of
Abbas
projects
is really, it's like it's his baby.
Yeah.
He is there all out. Like when you speak to him also, he will talk about the minute details that he's putting into. And one of the projects is also backed by Sean Killa, who's one of the big architects that we have in the city. So AHS and one more.
So one more developer. What I'm really liking these days, and I think, there's some small developers that are picking up lands in Dubai Hills Estate, and they've picked up lands in Palm Jumeirah, and they've built custom-built homes.
Okay.
All right? They're not backed by a brand, but there's groups of investors that are doing these things, and I think those guys, they are the real, what I would say, luxury providers, because these bigger developers, they can't go into that intricate details. The big developers, I only think it's Omnia, then maybe AHS, which are big brands showing, and then everyone is using the word luxury. I mean, every developer.
I mean, it's Dubai. They have to use luxury.
Is using the word luxury.
Yeah. Okay. And last question, just to close it off, as your closing remarks, maybe how would you describe the future of Dubai from a real estate point of view?
I am very confident in the future of Dubai. I think right now we're at 3.93 million people. Once we reach 7.8 million, all of this real estate around us and all of these prices that we look at today, and all of this will be a thing of the past, and we'll be selling these properties at 40, 50, 100% over the prices today. Anything along the beach in Dubai is going to be like gold dust. You are never going to have a chance to buy something at these prices on the water. So projects like Maritime City, Dubai Islands, Rashid Yachts and Marina, Palm Jebel Ali, all of this in the next 15 years is going to be out of hand in terms of everything will be, of course, moving on the south side of Dubai. So for anyone looking or who has affordability today, act fast, because this city is going far, and I don't think these prices, these payment plans will exist in the future.
Lovely. Do you have anything else to add?
I'm just really thankful for you guys to come, and thank you. You guys are doing an amazing job. It's amazing when I'm seeing the growth of your channel, and hopefully all the viewers who've tuned into your show will hopefully gain from this.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be speaking to you. I think
Thanks.
I have got a lot of real estate insights. So
thank you so much.
I will maybe have a discussion with you later.
Off camera. Let me tell you something now.
Lovely. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Take care.